Hello everybody and welcome back to Solving Standard. I'm Corbin Hostler and this is Standard Merfolk. I am so excited. Finally get to play Merfolk in Standard, and you know what? Unlike with Ixalan, the deck is actually just very good now. We have everything we want. We have the Branch Walkers, we have Silver Gills, we have it all. Jadelight Ranger, Flash Sorceries, I guess. Why not? But this deck is great. And you know what? With all the standard bannings, Ferocidon, gone. Ramunap Ruins, gone. Attune with Ether and Rogue Refiner out of here. We're ready. It is time for Tribal to shine in Standard. And Merfolk is right there at the forefront because there is a lot going on for it. Like this card right here, Merfolk Branch Walker, Silvergill Adept 5 through 8. In Standard. I've been playing these alongside each other in Modern. Now we get to do it in Standard. It is just a lot of fun. Now, I am going to bottom this one here, or put this one into my graveyard here, because I just want to draw a land. But 3/2 Scry 1 for 2 mana, not so bad. Now we have a Lord on our next turn if we don't draw a land. If we draw a land, we get to play Kapala, which I assume we're playing as some sort of Settle the Wreckage, Approach of the Second Sun type deck here. Could be White Blue Gift. Lots of options, I suppose. Certainly some sort of control deck, I think. We have cards that are okay against control. You know, the Explore guys are good. Okay, yeah, White Blue Gift or Esper Gift or something, I suppose. Yeah, this is certainly going to be one of the popular decks in the format now that there is no... well, there can still be energy, but now the energy and especially the red deck are not all over the place. These Gift of the God-Pharaoh decks are going to be pretty popular, I think, and honestly probably pretty good. You know, that said, they are beatable. We have Naturalize in our sideboard. We have Spell Pierces to stop them from coming out. You know, but a Braid exists, and a Braid is a really key card in this format. Equally good against, you know, a deck like Merfolk, as well as a deck like a White-Blue God-Pharaoh's Gift. And that's a nice place to be. Now, of course, all the red decks in Temur Energy and Ramunap Red got neutered, so we'll see what it looks like exactly. But, all right, so our opponent wasn't too bad. Nothing too scary in their graveyard there. At least so far. All right, hitting a land there was very, very good. We can't play... We can play the Kapala. We can't play the Jadelight Ranger. I can play Kumena. I don't know if that's better than Kapala or not. I think Kapala might be better. You know, they're both going to attack for 2 damage, or we're not going to activate the abilities on Kumena, so we may as well attack if our opponent's playing anything that we need to worry about. It also doesn't hurt, for what it's worth, that we have this Crashing Tide in our hand. If our opponent, you know, needs a big Angel of Invention play or something to get back into the game, and we can just bounce it at instant speed while drawing a card, that's pretty good. All right, so our opponent's going to mill themselves here, and we're hoping they don't flip a God-Pharaoh's Gift. They did not. And as a matter of fact, they flipped no scary creature. So this is pretty good for us, to be honest. We're attacking for... a reasonable amount next turn. Not lethal, but... yeah, okay. Yeah, the Sacred Cats have arrived. All right, let's see what we can draw here. All right, a land is pretty good there. Just going to go ahead and attack. Now, my opponent might go for the double block on Mistbinder, and if they do, I'm just going to repulse Crashing Tide, the Sacred Cat. That leaves them taking 7 damage, though. Not... okay, yeah, this makes more sense, to be honest. This is what I expected. They take 2 this way. We play Jadelight Ranger. Try to find Spell Pierce or something. Alright, again, they whiffed more or less on what they put into their graveyard, so that's very good for us. Opponent only falls to 9. They get to reanimate a Sacred Cat next turn. I think I'm just going to play Jadelight Ranger. Also not sure what my opponent has in the way of counterspells. I'm not sure if that's something we have to worry about. Not sure if we need to worry about Settle the Wreckage in the main deck. Alright, there's a Spell Pierce, huh? Gonna keep that one right there on top. Gonna keep it on top twice, as it turns out. All right, so that's pretty good. So now we're presenting, again, not lethal, I suppose, because our opponent can block a 5, take 9, and not die because the Sacred Cat would come back and gain a life. But we can, unless we're getting fumigated right away, which would be unfortunate. Okay, well, just a turn late, huh? Yeah. It feels kind of bad, but what can you do? Our opponent knows we have Spell Pierce too, so that's... They had the turn 5 Fumigate, and we were a turn late on Spell Pierce, so fair enough. We'll see what we can do here. Opponent knows what to play around, and our hand is not exactly strong, so... One of the skills you have to learn playing Merfolk in Standard or Modern is how to play around board wipes. And in this case, you know, some of these decks, sometimes they're just turbo, you know, God-Pharaoh's Gift, and they don't necessarily run the board wipes in the main deck, but, you know, it's fine. We put lethal on the board. We were going to have Spell Pierce up if they didn't have it immediately, so just not quite in the right order here. Just Angel of Invention, huh? Well, that's pretty good. Hopefully they don't make servos here so we can get some value out of bouncing it. Made the servos. Alright, not good for us. Not great. Alright, play land. I suppose I may as well get in there. Right, we're clearly going to be casting the Crashing Tide this turn regardless. Yeah, and surprisingly, they just don't block. I guess I pass. Yeah, I suppose we pass here. Not in a great spot, but you know what? We do have the Tempest Caller to set up if we can draw something pretty good later. And depending on what our opponent does here, I'll probably Crashing Tide one of the tokens at the end of the turn. But we have the Tempest Caller set up lethal if we can get enough power onto the board. Sure, that's going to resolve. I think the corner was turned with that Fumigate, though. And God-Pharaoh's Gift has now arrived in the graveyard, so things looking pretty bad for the good guys here. But we move on to the sideboard where we have pretty decent options. Jade Bearer, huh? Okay. Well, this isn't bad. I think we're still going to die, but this isn't... Our opponent doesn't have that much to get back, I suppose. Alright, so we can play the Mistbender. We can play the Jade Bearer. And we're all in on this Kumena, I suppose. But that's fine. Definitely do not want to give my opponent the opportunity to block with Angel of Invention and then get it back with God-Pharaoh's Gift. So we'll have to make Kumena unblockable. What is this? Cast Out, huh? Well, I don't think I have much of an option but to Spell Pierce this. Our opponent only has 2 cards in hand. You know, we weren't going to be able to stop a Refurbish anyways. And the fact that our opponent went for that Cast Out, maybe, you know, you'd think that they wouldn't necessarily be scared if they were getting ready to go off with a God-Pharaoh's Gift here. But either way, we're getting for 6 here. Or 4 here, rather. And you know what? We have conveniently not lethal on our turn. We have 8 when our opponent's at 9. But I suppose they're going to lifelink their way back up to 11 anyways here. Conveniently means if we draw, we have 1, 2... Well, maybe we get an Oasis? Not quite. Let's see what our opponent has. Here comes a hard cast God-Pharaoh's Gift. Okay. So the problem... Our opponent gets a Sacred Cat out of the deal. We're in the game still. We're not out of it quite yet. I wouldn't say things are looking great, but we're not out of the game. Getting back this stupid cat is going to be pretty good. Alright, well. Here comes the team. If I take it, I'm taking 9. Going to 5? That's not great. I could trade with the servo here. Our opponent's going to gain a bunch of life, so I don't really know how we're going to get back into this one, but it probably starts with keeping this around to block next turn. And maybe we just... This thing's big enough to just block this on its own, I suppose, so maybe we just trade with the servo. Protect our life total as much as possible. Alright, let's see what we can draw here. It's not the worst draw. Certainly not the best draw, but not the worst draw, given that we're just going to be trying to trade with tokens. I just need to get all the creatures I can onto the battlefield here. And for what it's worth, we can... yeah, this is not lethal, so I think maybe I attack with this Mistbinder, because the Mistbinder is not going to be one of the ones we want blocking anyways. We'll set these two to block that. Yeah, and these 3 creatures can block, and we can draw a card with Kumena. So this is, by the way, the power of Kumena and this deck in general. You know, our opponent basically did what they wanted to do. They resolved a God-Pharaoh's gift. They're sort of going off, and, you know, we're probably dead, but we're not actually dead. Yeah, this will probably kill us, but if our opponent had whiffed there, right, if they just had, you know, blanks in hand or cards that didn't necessarily do what they needed to do. Here comes the Angel of Mention. All right, we're dead. Opponent has 6 in the air here. Other creatures, so they have lethal in the air. All right, well, fair enough. Close game, though, especially for game 1. That was a pretty clutch Fumigate. But moving on to the sideboard here, we have cards we want. We want the Negate, we want the Naturalize, we want the Spell Pierces. We believe we want the Nissa. The question is if we want, like, you know, Brawl or River's Rebuke. I don't think we want Crashing Tides. I don't think we want Unsummons. You know, if we were going to be bouncing our opponent's stuff, you know, when they have tokens, which is a reasonable thing to do, we want to bounce them all at once. I also think that the Tempest Caller is pretty okay here as well. I'm going to be cutting a 3-drop. Don't think Kapala is doing much. Our opponent's going to have almost entirely mass removal. All right, so we need to cut 1 card here. River's Rebuke and Tempest Caller both are good in different situations, but both are reasonable. I might cut the other Jade Bearer. It's just obviously the worst creature in the deck. Not by a lot necessarily, but by a little. I mean, it may be better than Deep Root Elite. I don't know. Deep Root Elite requires you to kind of go wide, but... I think, and obviously I don't know, you know, maybe you need more Naturalizes in the sideboard. Maybe you need more hard counters like Negate rather than just Spell Pierces or whatever. But, you know, this is a nice catch-all that can buy us, you know, a fair bit of time. It would have been, you know, obviously been great in that last game, right? Our opponent had a bunch of tokens and so on and flyers, and we just bounce all the tokens and they're gone forever. But Tempest Caller can also tap down for a swing. But the game basically revolves around Fumigate. Don't think we want Entrancing Melody. Don't want the other Rebuke or the Expertise. Kapala not great here. Crashing Tide. I love this card. I love the art on this card too, but not exactly what we want. Again, on summons, yeah, don't need Blossoming Defenses. These gift decks are going to be good, but they are beatable. You know, Graveyard Hate is a thing. The Scavenger Grounds, the desert that exiles graveyards exists. Abrade exists, and that's the big one, of course. But the real danger is that the blue-white gift deck can basically just sideboard into a value machine that doesn't care about God-Pharaoh's gift. And that's the strength of the deck, and that's why I made the finals of the Pro Tour. This hand is keep, though. This hand is pretty reasonable, I would say. This hand goes wide. That's the issue, right? This hand goes big and it goes wide, but if our opponent just has a Fumigate, it's not great. So we'll see what we can do here. If our opponent's on a God-Pharaoh's Gift plane, we're in business. If they're on a Fumigate and play a mid-range value plane, we are not. So we'll see how that stacks up here. I think it's really silly, for what it's worth, that God-Pharaoh's Gift doesn't target. It's very, very odd that it doesn't target. And the reason that matters is that they printed a 1-mana hate card, right? This is just 1-mana artifact that, cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities. But God-Pharaoh's Gift doesn't target. I mean, it stops the refurbish, but it doesn't actually stop the namesake card of the deck. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just play this Deeproot Elite, I think. I think that, at the very least, we're obviously playing a Branch Walker. See what we can do here. Problem is, none of our counter spells right now are live because we don't have blue mana. And that is why I really wish that Unclaimed Territory is great. I wish they had done a cycle of lands in this set for each tribe, and ooh, that's pretty good as well. Definitely going to play that one, I think. It allows us to get in there as well on this turn. Swing for 4. This is basically all I want to commit to the board here. We'll see, but our opponent, given that they mulliganed and they're not exactly turboing out anything here. They've almost certainly sitting on a Fumigate, so I don't necessarily want to commit to more to the board if I don't have to. Problem is we might have to. Although now, depending on what they throw in the graveyard here, they could be set up for a refurbish. Opponent is thinking about it. Deep in the tank here. Oh, God-Pharaoh's Gift. Well, okay, fair enough. Land? It's a land, not the one we wanted, but do have to play it. Well, I can swing, trade off one of my creatures for the Champion of Wits, or I can make. I mean, that's what we do. And it doesn't feel great, but that's what we do. Obviously, an untapped land there would be great, so I could play a Branch Walker, make the Deeproot at least a 3/3, and still hold up the Naturalize here. But I suspect our opponent's just going to trade with the Deeproot Elite, and we just kind of have to let that happen. Because we have to pass with Naturalize up, so if our opponent has Refurbish, we don't just die. There's no way they don't block here, right? I guess we're theoretically representing some things, but there's not much we can do. Okay, well, let's hope that our opponent's on the Refurbish plan and we get to punish them. And then follow up with Branch Walkers. That's almost certainly our best route to winning here. Their Champion of Wits is very good against us. I guess we say we can play the Branch Walker here, but we don't have the Deeproot Elite anymore. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I should have just tapped the Deeproot Elite to the Kumena, made it unblockable, and traded off the Kumena Speaker. It might have been better. Since one of them was getting traded off anyways, I mean, we would have gotten 2 less damage, and at that point, we may as well just make the Kumena unblockable. I'm not sure. That's why these blue-white decks are good, because we have to balance getting in damage while also, being scared of their end game. Whether that's Approach or, in this case, God-Pharaoh's Gift. Obviously, God-Pharaoh's Gift is a harder matchup because they have creatures to commit to the board that can actually trade with us as well. Whereas, the blue-white deck, the blue-white cycling deck or the blue-white control deck, you sort of know what you have to deal with. All right, the Embalmed Sacred Cat. Fair enough. All right, let's go ahead and just Play a Branch Walker out here. Jungleborn Pioneer, huh? Actually, it's not very good against Fumigate. Well, I guess it's okay to rebuild after Fumigate. I suppose it's fine. We could draw a card. That doesn't seem too good, though. Our opponent... This is the Fumigate turn for our opponent. So, you know, we can rebuild pretty decently after a Fumigate here. Or we can try to draw a card instead. And I don't think that's worth it. I think instead let's just get in some damage here. May as well attack with both if our opponent's going to have Fumigate anyways. They do only have 2 cards in hand and are, you know, currently at least still a fair amount of mana away from reanimating the embalming the minister, or sorry, the champion of wits. But we're at least not dead to refurbish on God-Pharaoh's gift. This is Angel of yeah. This is, like I said, this is the problem. They just play the fair game and they kill you that way. This deck is very good. It made the finals of the Pro Tour in a format where Temur Energy and Ramunap Red were legal, and I don't see any reason to believe it's not going to be very good now. Well, I think we're officially into try to control the board mode here by playing Branch Walker and then drawing cards here. We're playing this, I suppose. Yeah, we're definitely in the go wide portion of the game. It is tempting to just run out the Branch Walker and then activate it. You know what? I'm going to do that. You know, our opponent committed to the board, and they only have 1 card in hand. So if they've done all this to just then slow roll us with a refurbish anyways, I suppose they have us. But you know, I also think we need to play our game, which is, look, now we get to tap the team, put counters on everything, and just go toe to toe with this mid range game plan. And if our opponent's been slow rolling the refurbish this whole time, then fair enough, you got me. That was well played. And we wouldn't even be dead to that. All right, yeah, see, there you go. Last card, Minister of Inquiries. And they have 6 lands, so they can't yet do this, but they're not too far away. I mean, our team's going to get big pretty fast here. Kumena just does so much in Standard. I think it's too slow for Modern, but in Standard, it is a house. All right, we're at 16. Our opponent's at 15. And they're top decking. That's pretty good. Pretty good one for us, I would say. Go ahead and play this here. just draw 2 cards. Not bad, I suppose. So the other cool part about this here is that we can actually, well, I suppose we can't. We're 1 short of doing that. We can't. We could tap it to make Kumena unblockable, but then we can't grow the team. So we kind of have to make a decision here. Do we just grow the team, or I think I get in some damage? Well, maybe not. I could just attack with something. You know, I could just attack with, say, this 4/3 Branch Walker and still be able to grow the team. That would be reasonable. Yeah, let's go for that one. Because what I want to do is I could also draw 2 cards, but I think given that our opponent's top decking and they can draw into land and just reanimate a Champion of Wits, we want to try to advance our board state as much as possible, and I think putting counters on the team every turn to try to end the game as fast as possible in that fashion is going to be important. Also, holding the Hashep Oasis in our hand is sort of a combat trick, so to speak, right? A surprise 3 damage that our opponent didn't account for. We can, make an unblockable Kumena and get in there. Yeah, they're thinking about it. If I were them, I'd throw probably the cat and a servo in front of it, but Yeah, this makes sense. You know, we actually could blow this out with Naturalize, but I think that's probably a little greedy. We'll just take the trade here. All right. Then I'll click them all. There we go. Yeah, I'm fine taking some damage back. That's just the nature of it. We're forced into playing this fair game, so to speak, and that just is what it is. Because now our team is growing. Our opponent's going to gain some life this turn, but we'll see what they draw. You know, we can actually beat God-Pharaoh's Gift more so than we can beat a land on and Eternalizing here. It also would be pretty greedy of our opponent to swing in with everything. Yeah, and they don't. Right, there's a Hash-Up Oasis. All right, so I can only activate this as a sorcery, huh? All right, so really want to draw creatures, but it's not the worst, I suppose. If I swing with the team, is that good for us right now? If I burn the Hash-Up Oasis on the Kumena, so there's no way our opponent can take it off the board, and then swing with the team, there's only basically one unfavorable trade. Well, there's like, you know, yeah, that's fine though. I think this is fine. It gets in some damage. For what it's worth, I suppose our opponent, if they went for this play, I don't know what they could be holding though. That's the thing we have to consider. What would they draw that they don't play? I think what I'm going to do is use Kumena. I'm going to make Kumena unblockable, swing for 4, and then still be able to draw a card. So this way we're at least, you know, keeping some damage on. We can still get some value out of what's going on here. The thing is, I have no idea what my opponent would be holding. I'm going to go ahead and draw the card now, though. Well, okay, fair enough. I may as well hold that, I suppose. We're not really getting a lot out of playing it right now. It just opens us up even further to the Fumigate blowout. Hostile Desert, huh? That's a blocker. I suppose. Yeah, they have a land card in their graveyard. All right, they can reanimate a Champion of Wits here. That's pretty good. Yeah, okay. You know, that said, we get to pump the team here. Also, what it's worth, I can get in for 10 with Kumena by himself. Yeah, there's probably some God-Pharaoh's Gifts in our future here. Fumigate's the bigger problem, though. Wonder what happens if we were to naturalize the servo at the end of the turn. Would we be able to get in for lethal? They'd block here. They'd gain 4 life, go to 17, block 3 creatures, and we're not getting in for that much. So this takes 4, so that's 1, 2. We could activate both of these, but then not have enough to cast a Mistbinder. All right, well, this is not great for us. That's for sure. And we're hanging in there, but it's not great. Maybe I should have done nothing but put counters on the team. I'm not sure. That's not bad. As a matter of fact, that might be pretty good. The problem, I think, we're actually more dead to just another hardcast Angel of Invention than we are anything else. All right, so I think we want to cast the Mistbinder here. All right, this is a 5/7. That's a pretty good attacker. So if I burn this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we only have 3 up, so I can't hold up Naturalize and Negate. I think we want to get an attack in, though. I think I just swing in with the Branch Walker. Well, our opponent just... That doesn't do us much good either. None of these options are great. You know, I could just hold up Negate and not naturalize. Hashep Oasis, get Kumena in there for 8, but then also be able to tap 5 Merfolk after that. And we have either naturalize or negate. I think maybe that's a better idea, just because our opponent is now executing their game plan pretty well after getting this back, and they're going to be able to do something. And, you know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong for us, but we need to try to close this thing out as fast as possible. So I think I just have to do this. Well, the problem with doing that is I can draw a card at that point. I make it unblockable. I draw a card with the team, but I can't pump the team. Maybe that's fine. We just have to get damage in, I think. Gosh, and then did I tap mana wrong? This will take 1, 2, 3, so it's going to take 2 of our sources. No, we'll still be okay. So we'll do that. Target that. Tap here, here, here. This allows me to have green if I have to pay the life forfeiture, and blue up. Okay. All right, so we'll get on in there for 8 this turn, which is pretty good. This card is just so powerful in Standard. To be able to have a shot in a drawn-out board like this, all thanks to Kumena, is very good. All right, well, we have up either Negate or Naturalize. One or the other here. Definitely tapped my mana wrong, that's for sure. I could have drawn into Spell Pierce and have Negate up. I could have Spell Pierce and Negate if I tapped my mana properly. Well, let's see what our opponent goes for. They have a lot of options. They can go for the God-Pharaoh's Gift plan, get blown out by Naturalize. They can go for a Fumigate here, and we have Negate. And you know, it's not a guarantee that we'll win the game with those things. But meanwhile, if they go for a... Well, I guess if they have a lot of options. If they just try to Eternalize another Champion of Wits here and knock themselves back up to 9, they risk dying to a couple different cards in our deck. And our opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So we could also draw cards at the beginning here, see if we hit Spell Pierce to try to Spell Pierce. Oh. Well, that's one we can't beat. Yep, that's pretty good. We have some options, but not against that one. We've had a lot of outs here. And there's the Spell Pierce. Alright, Kumena is gone, unfortunately. And we just have not quite drawn the right half of the things we need. Do still have some outs here. Didn't quite hit these things in the right order. Angel of Sanctions is just very, very powerful. Also a problem is that our opponent just now has a bunch of flying damage. We have outs, though. I think we have the Tempest Caller. We have the River's Rebuke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which we'd actually have Negate backup for. So, and we have a lot of outs. Another Lord is pretty good as well. I think that would allow us Alpha Strike. Our opponent can Eternalize or Embalm this cat, which probably doesn't allow us to attack for lethal. It's been a good game. It's been a good match regardless. Yeah, I thought they might come in with that, and we have to block here. Because otherwise we're dead in the air next turn. That's why I left this one back. To at least have a trade there. Are we going to catch something with this Spell Pierce? We're not. Our opponent, yeah, this mid-range game plan is just very strong, it turns out. To be fair, we drew, and look, we drew the, we drew the wrong cards, right? We drew the answers to the not fair plan, and we're just dying to the creatures. If these had been 3 Merfolk in our hand, we would have easily won the game. So, but you don't know. That's the danger of playing against the God-Pharaoh's gift deck. Botanical Sanctum not exactly getting us there either. In fact, I think things are looking pretty bad for the good guys here. I can throw Hashep Oasis at a Merfolk, or at the 7. I can get in with a 7, so it just gets chump blocked if I do that. That's the problem. And I could just swing with the Branch Walker, perhaps. We then still have blocks for this and those two. I may as well get in there with this. Oh, they have this Hostile Desert as well, huh? Maybe that means I can't attack. Maybe Hostile Desert means I can't attack, because then we take 6 in the air, we go to 4. We have 3 blockers. I mean, I guess we still can. We have a blocker for the Hostile Desert. We have a block. We don't have good blocks is the issue. I think this attack just gets chump blocked, though. And I don't know that anything changes by getting this in there. Because then, and I mean, I don't know that realistically changes our outs. Our outs are to bounce their board, whether that's with River's Rebuke or Tempest Caller. I don't really see a way, because we have 11 power. And we retain 11 power. I just don't think there's a benefit to blocking or attacking, because sure, our opponent would probably chump block it, but if they don't and they do that math and they're not scared of it, then they actually have really awkward attacks for us, and it removes our number of outs. And we have a couple outs. We just have to try to find them. If we lose this match, I think I played this game well. I don't think there was much else we could have done differently game 1. Our cards did not match up quite how we wanted them to in this particular game. We're going to die with cards in hand that would have won the game if they had just been creatures, but there's no way to know that. But we do have still some outs we're drawing to. Okay. Yeah, it's all very, very good. Just absolutely died to the fair plan. It really hurts if you lose game 1 because you don't know what they're doing in games 2 and 3, and if they'd had the unfair plan, we would have been in a great spot, but instead they had the fair plan. We have dead cards as a result. Are we just dead here? We take 8 in the air. Here comes the. I'm glad I didn't attack. That's for sure. I think we will be naturalizing a servo here. Our blocks might still be okay. Our opponent's going to gain 3 life here, plus the kitty. So, that's a lot of life. All right. Not particularly looking good for us. River's Rebuke is still an out, though. Maybe we should have just played them both. Maybe just assume the game's going to go long and you need the blowout card. Certainly a possibility. Oh, they didn't even come in with the team here, so given that, okay, just double block here. Well, our opponent's going to do 5 damage to our 7 toughness. Well, okay, they only get to take 1 of our creatures because of the way they have to assign damage. I think this keeps us having lethal next turn if we draw a way to tap the team. Because they're actually going to have to assign a minimum of 3 damage, and they can only assign 2, and my creature will have at least 3 toughness after that. Because you can't split up the damage, and then, when the Mistbinder dies, Yeah, I think this is what we need to do here. All right, I guess maybe future learning here. We want to bring in the all the Rivers Rebukes. I had a feeling we were going to draw something awkward like that. Oh man. Okay. Well, we're just going to pay 5 mana to do this. All right. Well, we've died. Close match, though. We have outs, and maybe the lesson to take from this is you assume the blue-white deck's going to play fair in the sideboarded games, and maybe you keep things. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're boarding out Fumigate, but maybe you go a slightly different route with the sideboarding, and you go all in on Rivers Rebuke, that sort of thing. But either way, nice match. Thank you for watching.